Hey, Gert.
Hey, Glenn. What's happening?
What's happening?
I'm going through day to day, man. Going through my constant or my continual becoming. Yeah.
Hey, you got till you're 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
No hurry.
Yeah. When you hit 40, is it like whoa, like the full, like you start getting like overstanding? That like
never noticed till I was 47.
Mm.
So for me, it wasn't 40.
Mm. So like when you hit 47, it's like the same thing that you've seen in the past. You look at it in a whole different light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you have done is lived every experience more than once. And you can never make a judgment on knowing something, seeing it happen once. But if you see repetition of events under different guises, then you know there's a message.
Yeah. Yeah. I seen a video of you out there on YouTube. They were talking about you saying that you were engineered and stuff like that. And I guess a lot of people can't. I guess they can't see that. It's difficult for some people to accept that. But I don't know. I look at it like when you see how it was in the beginning, that's not really difficult to understand.
Some people have a task to do. Yeah. They're paid to be on the net. They have a job to do, and they get paid for it. Yeah. And part of their job is to put down those people the system wants put down.
Yeah, I've seen that in the old post. You put part of the one of the things you have to deal with telling the truth is you have to get used to being rejected all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was some wise words there. Yeah.
Something you learn when you are in the business of dealing with the public.
Yeah.
Is that just because you believe something doesn't mean everybody else does. Yeah. And therefore, you try to find out what it is other people believe in. And you come across the common denominator is they repeat what they saw on TV.
Yeah.
They repeat what they read in the newspaper. They repeat what the teacher told them. They repeat what their mother told them. But they never spend any time analyzing what they're saying. They're just repeating it.
Yeah, and I noticed that, how people are is, I guess part of the environment and the media and stuff, it's everything is like surface dwelling type of thing. It's, because when you look at another person, it's not the person, really that matters. It's what's inside, I guess, that's more important. Yeah.
There's all kinds of detractions on the outside. People may be of a different religion, a different color, a different size.
But that's all like nonsense. That doesn't even really matter.
Exactly. What you have to do is listen to what the person is saying. Analyze from that point of view whether or not they are speaking for themselves or just repeating what other people have said that they've accepted without search, without any evidence of their own.
Mm. Yeah. So, have you found what's going on over there? the farm.
At the what?
What's going on over there by you? Because I'm hearing. So last talk to you, like crazy stuff going up there.
Yeah, well, there was the case of my disappearing overalls yesterday.
Disappearing overall?
Yeah. I had 2 pairs of overalls and realized that I hadn't seen the second pair in a couple of weeks. But why would anybody want to take a pair of overalls?
DNA?
Well, that may be it, but that's very superficial way of getting any DNA. Nothing of any real value in what's just on the surface. There are much better ways than that. It involves basically saliva.
Yeah.
In any event, it became obvious to me last night that if someone wanted to be on the property without being seen, one way of doing it is to hide the color of their clothes. And my overalls are dark blue. So it basically is impossible for people to be seen in those overalls if they're in the bush at night wearing dark blue. So that's a possibility. Nothing is a probability. Everything's always either an impossibility or a possibility. Until you have the evidence, you never know for certain. But the evidence is 1 pair of my overalls are missing. Last time I saw them was a few weeks ago.
I heard somebody mention that, like, anything's possible.
I don't believe anything is possible except when it involves creation.
What do you mean by that? Like,
well, creation basically set the rules, invented science, and therefore a lot of things we don't see as possible, creation obviously has the answers. Therefore, in creation's hands, everything is possible. In our hands, only those things which we know about are possible. Hey, if you had told a guy 500 years ago that a person on Long Island would be speaking to a person in Ontario in real time, they would have laughed at you.
But that probably was possible for a small group of people.
Well, it was only possible once they discovered the rules that creation set in place. Once that was done, then they understood it's possible. If you tell somebody today that a cat can communicate, they say that's not possible except by meowing. But cats can communicate through sensory mechanisms that we as human beings have put in background.
Yeah.
And whales can do it through water.
What do you think made that dormant? Because we just stopped using it?
Yeah, because it didn't become something important to our survival on a day-to-day basis. So you stop using it, it goes into recession.
You think that's every human on the planet, or like?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, those would have been basic things that we would have all had: the ability to sense, to smell, to hear, to see better than we do now.
Yeah, that was in it's interesting. That was in that movie, The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Kubrick. It's like they called it Shining because they had this kid had this extra sensory perception. I guess they were hinting at intuition or something. Or,
sure.
And then the guy who goes crazy, I think he just realized, it's like this other movie I was watching, he realizes what he is because of I guess the environment probably turned something on, or and that's, I guess, the story of a lot of people, like everybody, because that's in this movie. It's called Wanted, with that guy, that actress, what's her name? She's the guy that's married to Brad Pitt, and this guy is like an office. He works in a cubicle as a drone. To find out that he just his father was an assassin, and he has these like extra sensory, like he just found out like his blood, he has the blood of an assassin, and he becomes good at killing people. And he joins this old fraternity of assassins.
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, that's the name. Wee Man.
Yeah, big lips.
She's I think she's like almost like a spokesperson.
Yeah.
Because they have leaders, I guess, of how the women. Huh?
They pay them through their sideline activities. That's how they get the starring roles. You know, if they carry out, once they become stars, the work of the system.
Yeah, she did all the things like, you know, being a father, women, I think it was. Like, she did that, and she was joined the Council on Foreign Relations and all that stuff.
Madonna's another one that does all those things.
Yeah, and what's the whole point of like Madonna like promoting like the whole like the religion of Baal, the Kabbalah?
Well, it's to give importance to a group that would not necessarily be considered important in a Western sense. Mm. So they want publicity, and they know that kids follow role models. So she's told, go out and do these things. Part of it, of course, is to bring into Caucasian society black children, so that in the end those black children are raised up to be like Caucasians and will probably intermarry with Caucasians, therefore helping the project of creating mulatto.
Yeah, and I've seen another allegory of that Lord of the Rings with the CERN, the particle accelerator. Mm-hmm. It goes through like all these different cycles of like rings, and then it goes to one final one, and it just collides all those particles. So that, but then I hear like there's people talking on the internet like it could cause it can destroy the planet type of thing. Some people are saying. And how many do they have around the world?
Well, I know of
Switzerland and Chicago.
Switzerland, London, Chicago, and California.
That's the ring.
The Chinese probably have one, and the India probably has one. Probably Pakistan. And
all of them will get used at the same time?
Well, that would be the whole idea. If you're going to ignite a coal seam around the northern hemisphere, they all would play a role, I would imagine. And it may be at the same time, but it may also be consecutive, one to the other. You light one, then you light the next one, and then the next one.
That's so interesting. An older post you wrote, saying that the lava coming up, I guess because it's orange and it goes up and it's bringing back stuff. So it's like a whole orange, the orange. It's like a big recycle.
Recycled life.
Yeah.
DNA has in fact been put back in the kettle, mixed up again, and sent back in a different combination from what it was before. It's what they call recombined. Recombinant.
Yeah, that's why they have the pot, the richest brew.
Yeah.
That was in Harry Potter when one of the movies, he brought back the Dark Lord, and how the Dark Lord was brought back was they took his DNA and put it in the boiling pot and it came back. So the Dark Lord was really him then. That's what they're saying. It's all of us, I guess, in a sense. The dark.
Ark. All from the Ark.
Yeah. It was this good video by this Dr. Ron Joseph, I think his name. I'm not exactly sure what his name is, but he goes into the creation of the world and life, and he was saying a lot of the things that you say, how DNA, but his argument was that people like Darwin, they tried saying that we all came from non-life, like the theory of the pool, but he says that's not possible because they've proven that it doesn't. They said life comes from life. He said DNA can only come from DNA, and that he was showing how the creation of the world was all like lava, and all comets were hitting it from all over outer space, and even the Oort cloud, because he said the Oort cloud was it's believed to have pieces of ice surrounding it, and water, that's water, so that was hitting the new Earth, the becoming Earth, and and then after a while, and bacteria came out of there, he said, and
everything that comes to the planet from the Oort cloud adds something.
Yeah.
The minute you add something, you make some new thing possible, but you can also make something that exists impossible. It may be the kiss of death to some kind of life that exists when you add something new.
Yeah, and he said the comets, they had, the only thing that could, what could live in a comet, to survive out of space, and he said, I'm not sure how true it is, but he said algae, like a type of algae inside the comet.
Well, the minute you have water, you have all the possibilities.
So, wow, water does create all types of life. And
the original life on Earth comes out of the core of the Earth, from everything that existed there, and comes in contact with water. And water is basically what expands possibilities. Things don't just live and die, but they can spend more and more time living, getting reconstituted, going another cycle, getting used to pressures at different levels of the ocean, make their way up to the surface, change their shape, become worms, become eels, become alligators, crocodiles, whatever, work their way up onto the land.
But I guess for a lot of people who are thrown off, because I've heard the question of what makes us human beings. Why is it that human beings are different from everything else? What makes them so different? And people say it's like reason or whatever, but I think it's the genetic engineering. That's what throws because it was like a leap, in a sense, I guess.
Yeah. Well, genetic engineering is more like a recipe. Like if you're making a cake, you can make a cake that ends up flat, or you can make a cake that rises. depending on what you put in the recipe.
Yeah. So, yeah, he was saying that there was a lot of things that that rung true. I guess I don't know that you're not the only person saying DNA.
Well, how could I be?
Yeah.
Since it's the basis of everything,
yeah.
There's got to be some people who know. You know, I could sit in a physics class all day long and not know what the teacher was talking about. Yeah. And he could sit in my class and not know what I was talking about. Yeah. So it all comes down to specialties. Everybody has their basic specialty.
And I noticed that with everybody, like a lot of people, they get like one part of it. It seems to me that they're dead on, and then I guess because of their perception, they don't see, I guess they don't have the benefit of seeing the whole, I guess, conspiracy side, the code.
A lot of it you have to have lived. You know, if you've lived through events in the past, that's part of your recipe. When you're working out problems, you know that these kind of things exist. You know, bribes and kickbacks are a fact of life, and they're not just in Mexico. You know. They're happening every day with politicians in Canada, telling people if what you want is a pension, well, you can either apply for one on your own and the bureaucrats will give you a runaround. But if you come to me, my office will do the work for you, and you'll get your pension much faster without any work. Now, it's expected that when the pension is obtained, there will be a sum of money attached to that, which is called back pay for those either 4 years, 5 years, or 10 years, whatever the situation calls for. And the back pay is really the politician's pay. And how much you share of that back pay with the politician will determine how happy they are with you. That's just another way of getting a bribe and a kickback. So, you know, why would a politician leave a job making $150,000 to take one that's going to pay $65,000? Doesn't really make any sense unless they know something. Yeah. One of the things they know is all of the sidelines they can have. Sometimes the sideline can be accessed immediately, and you get paid like they do with pensions by somebody handing over cash, but others may be deposits put into accounts which they don't access until they leave politics.
So it's like insurance on the place. Oh. Yeah. By the way, that guy, he said he called you. He told me that he made a joke, and I guess from what he says, you seem to take it the wrong way.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Like, 'cause
I didn't take it anyway. I just said, "Oh, your name is Elliot," and he just laughed, and there was no more discussion. We were at the end of our conversation. So he's written to me 3 or 4 times, explaining that he was saying a joke, and it was a bad joke, and he shouldn't have done it. He said, "I don't know. I didn't get it." I didn't get it as a joke. I just took it as a statement he made at the the end of our conversation that his name was Elliot because he pronounced it toilet. So he must have a guilty conscience or something.
I don't know.
In any event, I wrote to him a note saying, no problem, just keep on working at it.
I guess, I don't know, I guess most people, some people they wouldn't know that you're analyzing everything, the whole name, everything. By the time somebody told them your name, you're already thinking like 4 different coding in the name.
I got to look at it in French. I got to look at it in reverse. I got to look at it in mirror.
Yeah.
All of these things are part of who I became.
Yeah. I got a friend who does that similar, but with pictures. I guess he has he mirrors the pictures. It's interesting what you'll find. You'll find like it's like a message in mirror imaging.
Well, Tom here always spoke backwards, so that's something I learned a long time ago. Being around Tom is everything you say to him. In his head, he's running it backwards.
Oh, man.
But that's just one way of working out the code. When people say something to me, the first thing I do is think French. How does this relate to French?
Well, yeah. Did you see that email I sent you? I don't know if you've. It was like a song that my.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out why your mother was singing a song about her girl.
No. It's she never used to sing it to me. It was a song I guess she grew up when she was growing up listening to, and I used to overhear it. She would sing it, and
She was basically talking about losing her girl to some unknown man. But that's a song that's not applicable today, because when you're losing your girl, you're just as much likely to inherit a bum come to live in your house with you, with your daughter. Or you could be basically seeing your daughter coming out of the closet and saying she's a lesbian. So that song was more a song applicable to the 40s and 50s than it is today.
Yeah, it was. I was reading up on the singer. I thought it was interesting. I guess he's really popular. And
well, Charles Aznavour. Charles is the French word for the cars. Les chars. Charles, L-E-S at the end. You just reverse it. He's the vehicle. He's the vehicle that passes on the message. Aznavour is A to Z. Navour, our naval, our navy, our naval, our belly button. He's at the center of our activity. Nobody becomes a star in entertainment unless they have a connection to the system.
Yeah, no, it's not. But doesn't everybody have some type of connection to it? Well,
in the sense that they are robotic, yes, but some are much more important communicators, vehicles for the system than others. You can be a robot and be a plumber, and I'm sure you're needed when there's a leak.
Yeah.
But it's not basically the way you communicate with people. People who are authors, people who are artists, actors, politicians, priests. Those are the main vehicles. By having A to Z in his name, relating his importance, an A slave coming from the Zyder Z, or Zealand, New Zealand.
Yeah, we're from looking at like the code and stuff. When I was reading the encyclopedia and all these encyclopedias, I was looking at one the tree. They called it the almond tree, and it's interesting how like in nature you see like the duality. Like they have one side of it that's poison, and the other almonds that are sweet. Those are the ones that.
It says "my lad."
Yeah, I guess.
M-O-N is "my" in French.
Uh-huh.
And what's left is L-A at the beginning and a D at the end.
Yeah, and that. But you know what I used? I used because I seen almond, so la is the, and M-O-N is basically man, and then D, it says D in the Desdemona. When I was reading newspaper, it says it could be dressed, dysfunctional. I put the dress man.
Number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is the picture of the vendor, salesperson.
But number 4 too is important because number 4 means the 4 corners of the going around the universe.
Also means danger. Duck. When you're playing golf.
Oh.
L4.
Yeah. Because from what I've seen, like one article on the altar, they have where they put the Bible and stuff. Like there's 4 horns or 4 points on each corner of the altar that holds the Bible. And I thought that was symbolic of them going in all 4 corners of the universe. So.
Well, that's the word news, eh?
Yeah.
North, east, west, south.
Yeah.
Obviously, something is wrong because the celestial north, east, west, south is different than the earth north, east, west, south.
That's why they use the circle to try to describe them going everywhere. But this is human, I guess, conception, a human trying to use symbols to say that they're going to go into the whole universe of things. I can understand what they mean by using a circle, but because then the universe is not. Because they used to say that the universe was like the shape of a spear, but I know that's not true. Who knows what's the shape? I don't even think there's a shape to it.
Well, if you have a big bang, it's like having the nut in the middle of a pea, or orange, or peach, or what have you, and it's exploding, and everything goes in all directions. So you obviously have a center point, and if everything goes in all directions, the thing you will make is round, it's circular, shape of a ball. And that's why they call it the religion of Baal.
Oh, so all when they talk about the glory in the middle, that's just the Neanderthals trying to mirror that?
Yeah.
Because they do talk.
Think of the core of the earth surrounded by the mantle, surrounded by the mole, surrounded by the
crust, moho.
Crust, the sea. Everything just is a bigger expanding circle, and things are at different places. So you've got the sky above and the core in the middle. The same thing applies to the universe. A center point that expands. The question is, does it expand forever? Or does it, at one stage of the game, stop expanding and reverse its motion and come back to
the singularity?
The singularity, or does it, instead of coming back, just start focusing on a different point and everything comes back to that point?
Whoa.
Down the line. Certainly, if it just expands, then the universe cannot exist as we know it, because everything will be so far apart that gravity won't have any role to play. You won't have a planet that stays close enough to a sun for the sun to have any effect on it.
Yeah, seeing it was like some people, like, you'll see like simulations of they'll use like a type of microscope, and they'll show like a tiny atom in there or a cell, and they'll go and they'll what's the word? They'll expand that and go, and then they show a leaf, and then this one video, what they did it till they were like supposedly light years away or from the Earth. I was thinking like, wow, the Earth is just looking like it's like a little dot, a little speck.
Yeah, well, imagine you having the records of everything that has happened for 4 or 5 precessions, 125,000 years. Well, you would have much more information than the person who's living the first time, or the second time, or the third time, or the fourth time, if you had it 5, 6, 7 times. And that's basically the concept of life. Life doesn't disappear. It just recombines and comes back out again. And sometimes it comes back close to the shape it was before, and sometimes totally different, depending on whether or not it learned lessons. It's like iron becomes steel, becomes chrome. Everything is relative there. You wouldn't expect to hit a piece of iron, put it in the fire, and bring it out, and you would have cotton. But if its basic material was recombined, you might end up losing what made iron and end up with something that was closer to nylon than iron. And that's basically the concept of what happens to people.
What do they mean?
Either come back like themselves, or they come back totally different.
And this happens not just the human species, right? All types of...
Everything. Everything in life. The only one that has a choice is human species. They have figured out that this is going to happen. So they can make it possible. They can genetically engineer it to repeat itself closer to what it was the first time around. Goats can't do that. Cows can't do that. Grass can't do that.
So ghosts don't go through life
worrying about anything but food and sex.
And do you think they get recombined all the time, or they come back tougher? Or because that's what instincts is, right? It's the part of that previous life or previous...
Yeah, to recombine, you have to basically get to the core of the Earth, and that doesn't necessarily happen in one shot. You know, that can probably take a long time for most people, unless, of course, they die over an open cone volcano and are sent down in a body bag, go directly to the recombination kitchen.
Oh, wow. And
that's what I think is being planned when you talk about a cleansing of the Earth.
Yeah.
There are people on Earth that will never learn. The only way to get rid of them is to send them to the core of the Earth on an expressway. That's what I think the system of creation has in mind.
Do you think it would be, how would it be like, do you think, if the public had that type of knowledge of engineering
It would be a totally different place.
Like, instead of like letting creation do it, of, you know, bringing, it brought themselves back over and over again. It would probably be, that's something to think about. But that's like, I don't think, at least not in this lifetime, that would ever happen. That type of.
Think of the word museum.
Yeah. Muse.
And in the middle of two moos, and a U can be an A, which is mama, is S-E, which in French pronunciation could be E-C. Here is mama. You find your mama in a museum. Your mama is a mummy. Your mama is the DNA.
It's the past. So to find your mama, you have to in yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen that movie. I watched like the 1940 version of Alibaba.
Yeah, on the 40 feet.
Yeah.
I think they were the government of Quebec when I lived there.
What happened? They were the government of Quebec?
Yeah, the guy in charge was called Bourassa.
Bourassa.
And I used to call him Alibaba and his 40 thieves.
Yeah.
That was his cabinet.
Yeah, because in the movie, I guess they show, like, I guess most people don't think, like, his thieves, who are supposedly, they're the good guys, so. These guys are thieves, so. Yeah.
Well, in the word thieves is the eaves.
So the beginning, or?
Yeah, the end times female will be a thief, but she won't be a female, she'll be a wee man.
To be a homeless bag lady looking for. Oh man. I see it now, like in the songs, and they had a song by a female singer. She came out and just said "bag lady." It's all about I was thinking you were actually like just coming up in the beginning of these words yourself, but they're using
absolutely
bag ladies, and
the male inside is called a bagman. And a bagman goes out collecting donations under the table for politicians.
That's Santa Claus with his red bag. And then the potato sack race that they have. Oh, man. It's always like an allegory within an allegory, a story within a story, a ring within a ring.
So a homeless bag lady looking for a place to live carries inside of her a bagman looking for things that he can pick up and bring back home for him. And in control is Medulla, the Miss Piggy that says, gimme, gimme, gimme. And they're on a communications network called TELUS. They don't make decisions on their own. They're basically communicating back and forth and are being told what to do next. And they travel in an iPod.
Yeah, GG iPods.
An iPod for one.
The pod is, I got a portable on-demand storage.
Yeah.
That's I seen that on those little storage places where if you want to move out.
Yeah.
They call it portable on-demand storage.
So you bring your box and you fill up your box and you go off with your box.
Wow.
You think about peas in a pod.
Yeah, another pea.
Peas have very few peas in the same pod. So an iPod, a pod for one. It's like the place you get into, the closet you get into at the subway in Tokyo. You know.
So I remember you mentioned that earlier. You said about coming out the closet, when all that whole movement of people coming out the closet and saying that they were gay. What was that allegory for?
Well, it's basically meaning you're living a secret life.
Coming out the closet.
You're coming out of the closet. Well, Your secret life could be that you are gay. Your secret life could be that you're a wee man. Your secret life could be that you came here before and you're on your 40th journey. There's a lot of allegories about coming out of the closet, but it just basically means you're giving up your secret life in order to live that life out in the open. I believe I was Cro-Magnon. Mm-hmm. I believe that by saying that, a lot of people will be disturbed. Mm-hmm. A lot of people won't want to believe that that's possible. But that's their problem, not mine.
Yeah. Exactly. I know it gets me how people, when you look at, they call that, and they use that in art too. They call it negative. Like that whole, one of the things they do in art is they don't care about what type of reaction they get from people. They just want to get some type of reaction. Yeah. Some people get it means that somewhere in the brain, or they say the unconscious, something has been moved or something. Some people react like, oh my, they can't bear looking at it. Some people.
In the world of spies, it's create traffic. You do things that other people will talk about. And then you listen in on their conversations, and you know what they're talking about, and how their mind functions and all of that stuff. So know that when things get quiet, the cell would often say something like, "Come on, Glenn, create some traffic." And what do you mean? Well, say something you believe that is controversial. And then people will all start talking about it. So, well, what is controversial to other people doesn't sound controversial to me. Yeah. So I have a lot of time trying to figure out what I need to say, because I expect, without thinking, that everybody would see things the way I do. But I've discovered over time that my thought processes are different than most people. Now, when I just say what I believe, it causes a whole bunch of people to say, he must be nuts. Why would you say something like that, he must be nuts? Well, it's because he's saying things that I haven't heard on CNN or on BBC. It's
crazy how you can say things, and when people say it's crazy, but that's so arrogant in my point of view, because that's saying on this, like they already know how it all is already. Like, yeah.
I had a woman at an insurance company this morning tell me, was it this morning or yesterday morning? Yesterday morning, I guess it was. She said, you're suggesting that the cops and the insurance industry are in cahoots. What would make you say that? And I said, well, bribes and kickbacks would be one thing that would put people in cahoots. And if you're doing things that causes the other one to earn money, well, maybe bribes and kickbacks are part of it. She says, well, I don't believe that. Well, I just kind of look at her. You have every right not to believe, but based on what? Does that mean that if you saw evidence, you wouldn't believe the evidence? Why are you defending something to the nth degree when you haven't even seen the evidence? I suggest it's because you are in the industry. It's easy for somebody in the insurance industry to point the finger at politicians and say they're crooks. But it's totally a different story for people in the insurance industry to say our industry is made up of crooks. And I guarantee you that there are probably a lot more crooks in insurance than there are in politics, if you look at the evidence. Except they're not public. But they got all the money. So the only way they got all the money in a system full of crooks is to be part of it.
Yeah, I look how, it's how you look at things. Like, I was thinking about, like, with my tooth. Like, you were right about, I think, when I was looking at another doctor, and he mentioned the same thing that you said. He said, okay, if you want to get a root canal, I wouldn't suggest that because it's impossible to get all the bacteria out the tooth. And if you get the metal or crown, whatever, it can actually, like, interfere with, like, electric waves in your head. And then he said, what I recommend is getting a bridge, but I don't even know if I want to get. I don't want to get anything foreign put in there.
Anything you put in your mouth can have something in it.
Yeah.
Anything.
Mm-hmm. So my whole thing is maybe I should I'll just take it out. But they say that the jaw all your teeth can shift because it's not resting. The jaw will collapse and you'll look like a troglodyte. And everybody will want to go pay to see you. And then I looked at it and then I said, okay, look how the dentist business is set up, because look at our culture, which helps make the money for this, because they purposely make all these. There's no reason to make all types of acidic drinks and all these things that deteriorate your teeth, because it actually makes a business. Of
course, and a dentist, if you think about it, who gets most of the free dental work or very low-priced dental work? It's people attending university. So they're basically setting them up for life. They can implant anything under the guise of a root canal. They can have them as a pension fund for the rest of their lives. The industry can bring them back for one repair job after the other, so that each one of them keeps bringing cash flow to the dentist. Why do you think the word dentist is made up of the word 10? It's a transmitter. It has 2 T's in it, and it's a vendor. It has a D at the beginning. It's the vendor.
Damn, man, bastards. So you've been like on this constant it's like a rivalry between you and the system.
Well, it's paying attention to those things you should have been paying attention to all your life, and all of a sudden realizing you haven't given it the attention it deserved. And once you start giving it the attention it deserves, you start realizing how they got you like quirks in a Hadron bag, and they're just shaking you from one side to the other. Yeah. And every now and then you kind of jump out, but there's no other place to go but just another bag. So you're trying to figure out how you can be a quirk or an atom on its own and just flying through space.
Oh, man.
You're always being chased to be stuck back in another bag. In any event, my friend, it is time for me to get ready for
another day with Bell Canada probably, and well, at least you'll learn something. You get to learn every day.
Yeah, every day you learn a little bit, and the best place to learn is on a farm.
Oh yeah, I want to buy an ant farm, by the way.
I beg your pardon?
I was thinking of buying an ant farm and just studying ants. Because you said that on your website, if you want to find the real meaning of your life. Start by studying shrubs, ants, all types of.
Ants are the most important life on the planet. You could basically get along without any human beings, but life cannot be sustained without ants. They're the cleanup crew. Mm-hmm. You never find ant shit anywhere. Ants clean up everything.
But then what are the, like, how long do you think they've been around? Ants?
Well, they certainly have to have been around from the beginning of life as we know it on the surface of the planet.
And by life, do you mean, like, not human life? I'm talking about
No, just life. Algae and everything.
Whoa, wow, they are old.
And an ant can be put in water and not die for up to 2 weeks.
What? That thing's a made soldier.
Yeah.
No wonder they copy that thing and make us like militant and brilliant.
A protest ant.
Yeah, man. Oh, man.
And an ant, of course, is the word 10, so it's the top of the line type of thing. You know.
But then you have the other.
Anyways.
Okay.
I can keep on talking for a month, but
all right.
See you again.
All right. Bye.
Bye for now.